Thank you very much. And welcome to Cats and Dogs here on Press TV with me, Len Topic. And today we're talking about some ironic awards which, if given out to school children, would be regarded less as gold stars than thunderclouds. You know, down through history, there have been some people who've steamed far ahead of their time and ahead of their peers, and were therefore largely unappreciated or underappreciated in their own lifetime. Many of them actually died while they still considered themselves a total failure. Authors and achievers such as Herman Melville, Franz Kafka, Emily Dickinson, Edgar Allan Poe and F. Scott Fitzgerald, to name but a few, but not Colonel Saunders. And yes, he really did exist. May they rest in peace and their genius live on in word, deed and the family bargain bucket. Now, having said that, humankind has sometimes learned to thank the best of its race, its men and women of genius, before their deaths and shown them some small token of appreciation. And it's against that backdrop of recognition that the London-based Ecclesia Institute for Human Rights has recently awarded, wait for it, honours to those judged to be doing the most to perpetuate war, cause death and suffering, and obstruct efforts to bring peace. Yes, really. Hold on, I'll explain. The goal of these awards is to bring international attention to the continuing horrors of the Yemen war and to shame the shameless. They aim to assign responsibility to political individuals for the atrocities they're helping to commit. So who, you might ask, made it to the podium? Well, the winner is Mohammed bin Salman. Yes, he wins the award for peace-related endeavours, or to be more specific, not as a peacemaker, but as the #1 spoiler of peace in the war in Yemen. And that's not all. In fact, His Majesty has not earned just one, but 2 awards that recognise his prowess in committing atrocities and severe rights violations and violations against children. Yes, he's been busy. In order to grasp how he's impressed the judges in not 1 but 2 categories, I'm pleased to say right here on the Cats and Dogs phone line, we have the champ himself, ladies and gentlemen, to find out his secrets of success. Please welcome the Saudi Crown Prince bin Salman. Crown Prince bin Salman, congratulations, kind of, on your award.
It was a team effort. And I want to thank everyone who made it possible, including my army and the American military-industrial complex.
Okay, this isn't actually the Oscars, but how do you really feel about these 2 awards?
To be honest, I feel I have the world by the tail.
What do you mean?
Ever since I was a child, I always wanted to be seen and thanked by the world. And my dream has now been fulfilled.
But, Crown Prince, are you aware that, how can I put this politely, these awards are, well, ironic?
Ironic, iconic, what's the difference? Whatever these awards are for, I've got A for effort. Nobody could have tried harder to win these awards.
Nobody could have tried harder? And you think that's a good thing?
Have you ever won either of these awards?
No,
Exactly. And I know I can do even better in future wars. You know, Yemen was only my first go, and I've already gone to the top of the class.
I really don't mean to be rude. Surely you can do better than this.
Oh, yes. Practice makes perfect.
Okay, you're certainly ambitious, but aren't you aiming a bit low by focusing on these awards?
I'm not aiming low at all. I hope to win these awards again next year.
The Crown Prince bin Salman there, aiming for more awards. I'm not really sure he's understood the point of those awards. Look, please, don't give any more awards to the Saudis, even if the purpose is to shame the shameless. Do something else. Forget about the awards. It's hard, if not impossible, to make them understand that the awards are sarcastic. But anyway, carried away with the joy of winning these awards, the Saudis are calling the world about fighting terrorism. Yes, some call Saudi Arabia the godfather of terrorism in the region, with who knows how many terrorist groups under its belt. It's preaching to the international community about the necessity of combating terror. Or is there a lesson here? If someone gave America an award for invading countries, maybe they'd stop doing it too. Anyway, This is what Saudi Arabia's deputy foreign minister was urging in a recent meeting with the director of the UN Counterterrorism Centre at their capital, Riyadh. And now it gets confusing. Many political dissidents and civil rights activists in the kingdom are being arrested, accused of terrorism-related charges. So here's one interpretation. Deciphering their words, you might say, when the Saudi officials call on the world to combat terrorism, they're actually asking for help and state-of-the-art weapons to crack down on protests, activists and opponents before beheading them in public. Now, are these the terrorists because they disagree with Saudi Arabia's state? And what about that Khashoggi case in Istanbul? Let's fight terrorism and don't worry about that Istanbul thing. It's all in the past. Oh, and by the way, we just won some awards, you know. But things are not much better way out west. In the cradle of Western freedom, French prosecutors have opened an investigation into a rather nasty alleged assault against a female soldier after a drinks reception at the presidential Élysée Palace in Paris back in July. But there's a problem. After an investigation, it was also discovered that neither the accuser nor the accused is Muslim, which is tricky. Because if the lady had been Muslim, then she'd obviously have been a liar. And if the accused were a Muslim, he'd obviously be guilty. Now, down the years, various saucy scandals have rocked French society. But the upside of the story is that President Macron has vowed to tackle violence against women before the upcoming presidential elections in April 2022. This makes Monsieur President another man ahead of his time, or at least ahead of his election time. Meanwhile, across the English Channel, a shocking case has damaged the police's reputation in London. Wayne Couzens was a police officer in London who abused his police position to kidnap, assault and murder his victim, Sarah Everard. And it turns out around 2,000 British policing staff have been accused of sexual misconduct over 4 years. Who's policing the police? Good question. Now, police officials say they've made progress. But of these cases, only 8% led to dismissal. British policing is good at many things, but it could probably have done a little bit better if it hadn't employed a murderer. Still, at least the London police haven't yet declared war on Yemen. Though having said that, based on the Saudi experience, if the London police had attacked Yemen, maybe they'd have won an award for it. That's all for this week. Join me again next time to see who's being accused of what, who's getting away with it, and who thinks being handed an ironic award is a badge of honour. That's all on Press TV with me, Len Topic, and Cats and Dogs.